Hello and welcome to my high KPM locker guide. I'll be showing you how I managed to drop 4 to 5 KPM games and the thought processes behind it. So if you want to learn this playstyle, you're gonna have to die a lot, so if you're a KD player, just don't bother. You're also gonna want to be quite tilt proof because you will die a lot and you probably need decent aim to play like this. If you're new, I recommend checking out Reaper's Infi guide, as that covers a lot of the basics around Infi, and especially recoil control, which is going to be very important if you want a KPM playstyle. It also shows some basic movement mechanics, such as air strafing. So if you can't be bothered watching the whole video, at least watch the first 5 minutes, but the rest of the video is pretty good. It shows some basic Infi positioning that is going to be pretty important when you're playing KPM, because you don't want to die stupidly to getting shot in the back. The most basic concept you should know about locker is that everything is risk reward. The risks are wasting time and potentially dying, which is also wasting time, and the reward is just how many people there are that you can kill. So that's something you should keep in mind when you see a red dot on the minimap and you try and chase it. You just have to keep in mind that you're wasting a lot of time to do that, especially if they're surrounded with friendlies. And the same goes for things like investigating why your friendly guy died. It's just a waste of time. The other most basic concept you should be doing is being in front of your teammates at all times. So make sure you don't get blocked, and it also makes sure that every kill is exposed to you first, so they can't steal anything. So for the loadout, you should always play medic unless you're very good. This is because we're constantly taking damage in this playstyle, so we always want to be able to heal. You should always take smokes, and I'll get into that later. As for the gun, you should probably run AEK and stubby, and you can also run compensator if you want. This is because every other gun just sucks really. The time to kill is just too slow. And that doesn't mean use a FAMAS either, because then you'll get into the habit of mag dumping for 1 kill, which is very bad. And you should always use small med because it lets you run around. And you should always heal the second you have free time. You should always heal before peeking, as this is much more efficient. You also shouldn't use an M320 because it wastes a lot of time shooting and reloading, and you might even not get kills with it. This means you should be running defibs so you can get spawns on your squad mates. So next I'll be talking about the map. Now the map is something a lot of people mess up. They always think that they should be playing for objective, but this is just wrong. There's always going to be blueberries that are going to deal with backcaps and things like that. So just don't even bother spawning back there. It's just a waste of time. This also means you shouldn't be running back to stop flanks or anything like that, because that is a very bad risk to reward, as there's a high risk that they're going to kill you and all you're going to get is a couple kills. This is because players flanking are usually good, and that means you don't want to fight them. This also means that you're usually going to be taking advantage of bad players because it's such a low risk compared to good players. The other thing about the map is that you should always follow where the majority of enemy players are. That's including not watching flanks where there's only going to be a couple. So the easiest way to do this is to look at the minimap and see where your teammates aren't, which means there's likely to be an enemy. Aside from that, I have a trick for finding people on the map, and that's to stay around C. So imagine you're on Russia team, the enemy has E, you have D, C, and they have B and A. So following the C rule, we should be at B, not E, because that's where most of the players are going to be. Now let's say you take B, but most of the time this means the enemy is also going to take D. Don't run A, always go D. You'll find this out yourself if you go A, there's going to be no players to kill. And even if there is players, there's going to be your whole team there to steal them. So the next problem people have is pushing chokes. Pushing chokes is one of the hardest things to learn, because it can feel like you're just running in like an ape. But the biggest thing you can do to help push a choke is throw smokes. Now you should always see smokes as a cover. It doesn't matter that they can shoot through it, it's cover. You can also take advantage of smokes at choke points by abusing the spotting mechanic in this game. That doesn't mean spotting Q all the time. That just means if you walk in a smoke and there's an enemy in there, it'll spot them because you're close to them. The other most important thing to know when pushing chokes is that you have to be fast in decision making. The second you see someone, you should go. You shouldn't be waiting and holding angles. Even if you know there's a guy there, if he's not peeking, just go. The risk to reward of waiting for this guy to peek is just not worth it at all. Because what might happen is either they just don't peek you and you're just sitting there like an idiot, or the rest of his team shows up and you never get to push because they have too many people. This is especially important after your team's just done a C take, for example, and you want to run into D as soon as possible because that's the best chance you're going to get to sit in there and just farm everyone. So now I'm going to showcase a couple clips and just explain what's going on. So this clip showcases a lot of smoke, spot abuse, and quick decision making. So the smoke's just allowing me to farm these guys without having to jump in there. I notice there's no one left, so I'm gonna push. And I'm not gonna wait for that RGO guy because I'm out in the open. I can't just wait for him to appear. Then I see an opening, so I have to go as soon as possible, so I'm not in the open. And then this is just a pretty common flank path. And it's just free farm from there. And I keep checking behind me to make sure no one's coming behind, because that's pretty common. If someone did show up behind, I would just swap to my G18 and kill them. And then I die, which is totally fine because I got plenty of kills there, it was worth. And just another clip here showing how powerful smokes are. Notice how I don't run back in the doorway because that would be wasting time. I'm completely safe and protected by that smoke there, so I can just reload. And I don't chase this guy because he's in complete no man's land. I'll die if I chase them. Now I'm gonna abuse this cover because it's all I've got. I probably should have healed there, but I think I was in a rush to get upstairs because I don't want to get shot from snow. Here's another clip showing how powerful smokes are. Notice how I'm straight W keying after I kill that guy. I don't want to waste any time. Running behind this one piece of cover. River this guy so I can spawn on him if I die. Get into this little cubby hole here because it's decent cover. Throw that smoke there because I want to go through spawn, which is a pretty free flank most of the time. And just kill the noobs. Farm them up. Defib this guy because he's prone. Then here I get a bit aggressive because I wanted to get a clip, but I should have smoked off the right side. I was just surprised by how those guys spawned on him. If I had gotten to those gas tanks, I would have just hidden there and played around him. So here's another good clip I can show. So that grenade comes in, I just like screw it, I'll go through, I'm not going to sit there and wait. I also see that the coast is clear, so I make my way to the gate because there's cover here. And then I'm not going to go through there because I know that they're going to be watching that. And my whole team is coming through to E, so it's pretty free. I can just go back to where I came from and get 3 easy kills. And unfortunately this guy spawns.
No, what?